WrestleMania 38 is
Night 2.
officially in the books.
Woo woo!
This is actually one of the best WrestleManias overall, combining Night 1 and Night 2 together since WrestleMania 30. I will have to say that.
Yeah.
Good
honestly,
show tonight, man.
Honestly, outside of, I think, WrestleMania 31, I definitely think that this is my favorite show since.
Oh, absolutely. Chris, Tommy, welcome back. This is Night 2, our third night in a row. This is our aftermath post show covering Night 2 of WrestleMania. For those of you guys that are watching or will be watching, make sure you subscribe, share this with your friends and family. And we're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you can subscribe to audio podcast. So Night 2 is in the books. WrestleMania is in the books. I'm already thinking about Los Angeles. But we got a little bit of talking about tonight. And then tomorrow night is the
Oh my gosh, man! We
show.
get to do this one more night, dude. Like this is great. This has really been
night.
a great
One more
weekend.
night.
I honestly think that that's probably the easiest way to wrap it all up. Is that this has been a really, really solid weekend for wrestling fans. I think anybody, if you were lapsed, just watch WrestleMania, watch it every week. It doesn't matter. I really do think that this show over both nights has had something for everybody. I've really, really enjoyed, watching WrestleMania this weekend.
Chris, before we go match my match, what were your thoughts overall WrestleMania this week? How would you rank this compared to all the other WrestleManias?
Yeah, no, it was solid. I enjoyed a lot of the matches. Everything flowed pretty well. The format was there. Each match held their own in their own ways, and I was overall very satisfied. I like to be satisfied with good wrestling, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I was very well pleased with this WrestleMania. All in all, listen, there are things that we can nitpick about this WrestleMania, but there were a lot more positives than negatives. Great show. I was very entertained by a lot of things tonight, which we'll get into. But listen, we're gonna jump right in. It is almost midnight here, Eastern Time in New York. Tommy, you're in Indiana.
Yeah,
Almost
man.
12 a.m. It is late. We got to get up tomorrow, so we're going to jump right in and talk about it. We had the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, defending against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Arguably could be one of the best matches of the night. I thought this was a very fun match, nonstop action. I thought the Alpha Academy was going to come out on top. Street Profits looked like they were going to pull out a win at some point. So those wins were teased, but we had RK Bro coming out on top and retaining. So WWE is definitely planning a long time build with RK Bro for sure, because we know at some
I'm all
point
for that.
RKO, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, they're gonna have a one-on-one match, and at this point, I would save it for a big event, either this year's SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania. But Chris, started with you. Your thoughts on tonight's Raw Tag Team title match? I thought this arguably could have been one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was actually very surprised with the amount of nonstop action, the good spots, and overall how everybody performed. Like, obviously you're putting three really good teams into one match together, but they were able to hold their own. They were able to go against last night's match against tag titles versus tag titles. And I think that they did have the better tag title match. And overall, I think RK Bro winning did make sense. I know a lot of us did pick Alpha Academy to win. But obviously they have plans for Orton and Riddle. So, I'm excited to see
Well,
what
they do. I basically just give them away.
Yeah, hey man, we've already discussed this. We plan the shows out months, years in advance.
My surprise is that the match didn't happen already. It's just that
Yeah, we've been predicting it for a while,
sells,
man. We've
merchandise
predicted this for a
sells.
while.
Yeah,
The fans love it.
they're very over as a team. They're,
Yeah.
Orton always says that, he's having such a great time. He's having the most fun he's ever had in wrestling, teaming with Riddle. So, if they're enjoying it, the fans are enjoying it, let it run for a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let it happen.
I fully
Dave, the
agree with
Hook
that.
Bros are in the house.
Hey, I'm not actually wearing a hat today. I actually put
Hook
put
Bros
stuff
are
in
in
my
the house.
hair. Yeah, man.
I threw my hat on because my hair is
always.
not out of place. Is mad out of place right now.
My hair's crazy.
Always,
Dave, thank
man.
you so
You
much
always
for
gotta
joining us.
thank you, Dave. But we always gotta acknowledge Roman, and we'll get into that here later. We're just getting the show started off, but yeah, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I think that there's it says something. The people remember the first match and the last match of the show. I think that's something that you know how it starts, you know how it ends. It's the two easiest things to remember, and we've seen some damn good WrestleMania openers. Even in the past few years, WrestleMania 34, we saw Finn, The Miz, and Seth Rollins in the Intercontinental Triple Threat. Fantastic opener. This, I think, rivals it, man. I really, really enjoyed this match. It was fast-paced. It got everybody involved. I honestly thought this was one of those matches that you could have a stipulation behind, maybe a tables match or something, but everybody was really into it. That the hot tag that Randy Orton had, my goodness, the man. If you need a visual explanation of how much fun he's having in his career recently, look at that. The dude was hot,
And crowd was hot tonight.
The crowd was the crowd made WrestleMania Night 2. I don't know if it was as good as Night 1 in the in-ring standpoint, but the crowd made it feel like a WrestleMania card. And this match was great. Everybody got their spots in. We saw the introduction kind of Gable Stevenson, and Gable's stable will start before we get with the Alpha Academy too. It's a great first Stable Wars match. But yeah, man, overall, great opener. I'd give it a solid B+. This was a really, really hot start to WrestleMania Night 2.
As some of you guys missed it yesterday, Tommy is pushing stables in WWE.
Not pushing, booking.
With WWE,
it's happening. I'm just telling them which ones.
With WWE, you don't even have the roster to have that many stables right now.
Did I just not?
WWE could use one or two good stables. You did.
Let it be known that I sent a list to our group chat of the Aftermath of about 13 teams.
And it was pretty
13 stables
impressive.
of at least 3 to 4 people. You got the roster for it. There's no overlap. I'm telling you.
You do. Get rid of the brand split.
You got to have a few guys come up from NXT. I think that's fine. You could, and most of the guys that I picked were not like developmental guys.
Tommy just wants gang wars.
I want gang warfare.
He wants gang war. He wants 97 to come back.
I'm telling you,
you got bikers versus the Spanish
really,
people, the Latinos.
Like the fact that we're in AEW versus WWE. I'm living the era I've always wanted to live in, the Attitude Era. I am enjoying being a wrestling fan so much that I'm booking. I'm telling them what to book for next year. Stable Wars the entire year.
Listen, this has been an exciting weekend for sure. Moving on, we had Omos versus Lashley. Now, this was pretty surprising, having Lashley against Omos. I thought for sure that Omos was walking out of here the victor, but that did not happen. That surprised me. So, Chris, like you always say, there must be a plan in place for Bobby Lashley. I personally would have saved the Omos loss to push somebody else and help elevate somebody else as a megastar. So I would have saved that defeat and give it to somebody else to push somebody new. But that's not the case. They gave it to Bobby Lashley. What did you guys think? Was this the right decision here?
I'm gonna continue to say it because that's where my head always goes. there. Where do we go from here?
Where we go from here.
Where does Bobby Lashley go with this victory? Like everybody's saying, like, now that the titles are unified, what's happening? Are they going to get another belt? Are they going to, have just one title? Having one title, and having so many of these single stars like McIntyre winning last night, Cody winning last night, Bobby winning this night. There's so many people that have these big singles victories that are big stars that deserve to be in a main event picture. Like, with only having one world title now, what are you doing for rivalries?
Listen, you can make that intercontinental picture and that U.S. title picture a lot stronger.
I agree with that. That's fair.
Quite frankly, the IC picture has not been strong at all by any means whatsoever.
But will they is the real question, and the answer is no, they will not. But I do agree with you. I do think that you could
we gotta hold up there, because if there's one world title, then that almost kind of pushes them to focus more.
Well, yeah, but
on
do you
the
think
US
that
and the
WWE
IC
will
title.
actually? Do you think they'll actually do that?
They have to.
This is the first time we've had a show that I think pleased everybody, and they actually
it was good.
Answered what the fans wanted. Do you think they'd actually answer that and bring back, like an intercon? Hey man, I talked about it last night with the tournaments. Give me a Razor Ramon IC title tournament. Winner gets Ricochet at WrestleMania Backlash. You get to fight Ricochet.
And you know what it does?
Boom.
You know what the tournament, having an intercontinental title tournament,
you're just booking 4 weeks.
These matches, yes, it makes these matches more meaningful.
Yeah, but that's the thing is you're getting, say they what? I don't know, a 16-man tournament. I think you could do that if you're really diving into the fact that this is the, we're going back to the 80s and 90s where this is the second title. You could do a 16-man tournament. You're building a whole 2 weeks, 4 weeks of TV matches that's almost an hour of content if you really push it well with, a few backstage promos and stuff. I mean, that's just easy thinking right there. You're paying homage to a legend that's made the Intercontinental belt, and like you said, yeah, like you're bringing that prestige back to that second belt. If they do obviously decide to keep with just one belt, we know WWE likes to backtrack on some of their ideas. So as much as this match was for the unification, as you mentioned last night, there actually are some rumors that we're getting another belt here. So.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? It'll be an interesting thing, but I do.
Well,
agree
that
with you.
other belt would be the replacement of the two belts for now. That's what I've heard.
Then
I've also heard that they're gonna bring back the two titles in a couple of weeks.
That's what I was.
They have no clue what they're doing. They honestly have no clue what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Listen,
but to those of you guys that are watching, feel free to leave comments and join in on the conversation. We want to know what you think. This is just not our conversation. This is your conversation too. So feel free to drop some comments. We'll acknowledge them. No pun intended. We will acknowledge them.
Perfect.
And have you guys in the conversation for sure. But yeah. So this is gonna be very interesting to see. We're gonna talk more about the unification stuff later on. But moving on, this was a fun match. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. This had me laughing the whole entire time, especially when it really started like halfway through with Johnny Knoxville doing a little bowling in the ring. And Michael Cole with the call with Johnny Knoxville getting a little ballsy. But it was hilarious. All these different spots. Chris, can you take me through some of your favorite parts of this match?
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I was thoroughly entertained. I really was. I had high expectations going into this. Actually, I thought it was going to be a very entertaining match just going forward. Knowing the buildup that these two have been going through, it was just leading up to it. I knew that they were going to have a lot of comedy, have a lot of good action, have a lot of high spots. Johnny Knoxville getting the crap beat out of him the entire time.
Yo, that kick he took right at the start, he took it like a champ, man. He just stood there.
Oh,
I loved it.
Goodness.
When you talk about people who need somewhere to go after this WrestleMania, Sami Zayn is in the talk. Sami Zayn is an unsung hero. He is such a great wrestler. He was able to put over every single person that came into that ring, into that area, and was able to work the crowd at the same time. Got boos from taking
Tim.
one kick.
Tim, how are you, man? Man, Slammin' Zayn was phenomenal. The crowd bopped.
Dude, I'm telling you, I saw it on Twitter, but I've thought about it. I'm telling my kids that was Hogan slamming Andre.
Exactly.
That was a moment, man. That was perfect. Man getting the pop of the night. Who would have guessed it?
Man, I was laughing when he got laid out though.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't you? In Party Boy. Oh,
how about the hand when Sami Zayn ran into the hand?
Very
I mean, like,
took a good bump on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Chris, you were kind of alluding to it, man. Like, I really do think that Sami Zayn and I'll throw a few other names out here, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Yeah. I tweeted it out, but I think they deserve some of the most credit the entire week. We've seen some people, build to WrestleMania by themselves. We had 3 dudes build an entire, slate of matches. Some big ones, some not so big ones, obviously, but big matches that were on a WrestleMania card by themselves on one show, and they all turned out. I don't think there was a single one between Owens, Rollins, and Zayn that I was disappointed with. I think they all did what they needed to do, and surprised even in their own way. I think every single match had a moment that people will remember, and this match was. Wayne, you said it best, man. I haven't laughed this hard at a wrestling match, but still thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, let's all admit, this was a stupid, entertainment 10-minute match, but it was so well done. I mean, it was so well done. The facial expressions by Sami, the selling, just some of the creative spots that they had. I honestly thought this was probably one of the more creative matches that WWE's had in years. And I really was kind of not looking forward to this match as much, but still had decent high hopes for it. But this match was really kind of kept that ball rolling and told me, man, this really is a damn good, WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Sami Zayn getting pinned by a mousetrap.
Oh, my goodness. Awesome. I mean, that was also, shout out to Johnny Knoxville, how many times he's taken a mousetrap that he knew immediately what was wrong and fixed it.
The mousetrap.
Oh my goodness! Oh, and a table spot.
The table spot too,
oh,
dude.
Oh my goodness! Oh man,
great! It was a really Now that we're talking about it, I really am sold. That was probably one of the top 3 matches of the night from an enjoyability standpoint.
I would definitely go back to watch this for sure. And that kind of reminds me. The 24/7 matchup with the 24/7 title was nowhere to be seen this weekend. I'm kind of surprised.
Why'd you say that like that's a bad that's a bad thing?
But they could have integrated.
I mean, it would have been great if they would have. If
integrated the 24/7 title.
Okay.
Like in that Sami Zayn Knoxville match.
Now that you say that, I agree with you. I think Reggie could have maybe gone through the spot with the mousetrap table or something. But okay, you know what? I'll give it to you. I can get behind that. I guess I took it as you were surprised in a bad way that title wasn't on the show.
No, I mean, you could have done some backstage stuff.
That's definitely where you fit in that. And let's all admit it, WrestleMania has those comedy and entertainment matches. I think that could have been an entertainment style moment. And like you said, it could have fit really well with this match. So I'll give you that one, Wayne.
There were no legend appearances besides the Hall of Fame.
But that's good, dude.
Listen, we need a WrestleMania.
Like, there were no like backstage segments.
Yeah.
That's fine, but we need a good, successful WrestleMania without having to rely on legends every single year.
Yeah.
On the John Cena's, the Rocks,
and Stone Cold. Yes, we all know he's a legend, but he was used in a way that.
It was his home state.
Hasn't been used in 19 years. So I think that's kind of like the bypass on that one. Like we could give him the card that says you get a free pass.
Now, will he be at next year's WrestleMania? Probably not. I think that's more for The Rock. And we'll talk more about that later.
Him, Hogan, and Austin will all be at Mania 40?
Yeah, 40 is gonna be a big one.
Oh yeah, in the Silver
already.
Dome. They're gonna re-erect the Silver Dome.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where 40 would be. They just did MetLife
I told you,
Stadium,
Pontiac
29,
Silver Dome.
35. No, I don't think
They're
Pontiac's
bringing
the
it
place
back.
for it. If you do WrestleMania 40, I don't know where you put that. Hopefully
Indianapolis,
not
Indiana.
Florida. Listen, I'm always a big fan of WWE trying new places and stuff. So
Hey
maybe
man,
even
Indianapolis
Minnesota.
has hosted the Final Fours, the March Madness, the Super Bowl, the college football playoffs. Bring it
You
to us,
just don't
man.
want to travel.
Well, no, I don't. But I mean, you better believe I'd be in front. I would be front if it came to WrestleMania. Being in Indiana, I would be front row, guaranteed.
I would definitely be going for sure.
I would be green shirt guy. I would outpay him.
Green shirt guy.
I would find as much money. I would become Marty Bird on Ozark and start laundering money if I had to. I would be where green shirt guy is sitting.
Oh man, he definitely does have the best seat in the house. For sure.
He really does.
Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus the champions Carmella and Zelina versus Natalya and Shayna. Pretty good match here. I mean, you notice Liv Morgan starting to look a little bit like a clown lately. Her makeup wasn't working for me tonight. It's resembling Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley, she's got to grow that hair.
You're the only one who thinks that, Wayne. I promise you that. You're the only one who thinks that Liv Morgan didn't look nice.
She looked like a little bit of a clown tonight. That makeup was looking like Rhea Ripley.
I promise you.
Anyhow, I digress.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
You should have kept that comment to yourself.
No. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan did not look good with that makeup tonight, and Rhea Ripley does not look good with her makeup either. She just does not have a good look. Rhea Ripley needs to turn the time back 2 or 3 years ago when she looked a little better. But
the IWC is gonna kill you for that comment right there, man.
Good. Let's. I want to hear comments. But anyhow, Zelina and Carmella lose their tag titles tonight. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be Natalya and Shayna winning. I just didn't have that vibe. I was really leaning towards Rhea and Liv Morgan winning this title, just for to give something for Liv Morgan to do and Rhea Ripley to kind of get her back on the pedestal a little bit and kind of get her push going. But that wasn't the case. Sasha Banks, of course, has to have her moment. Sasha and Naomi are the new women's tag team championships. Great showing by all these ladies. I had a problem. The ladies tag titles match, in my opinion, was better than yesterday's Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. By damn sure. Anyhow,
it still surprises me that match, that both of the title matches were on the same night, and that this was the only women's match. Well, they needed something
to balance out the one men's championship match.
Correct. Yes. But no, I thought this match was fine. It was a good way to get people on the card. I really did dig the entrance from Sasha and Naomi, though. I like the gotta love a good Lamborghini. Coming out, and that fits the boss character, which I always love. I love the continuity of a character. But yeah, man, this match was fine. Normally, I probably would have shit on this match a little bit more, but I think that because of where it was on the card and just how it kind of flowed, like you said, Chris, we were talking about the flow of everything. I think that where this match was fit perfectly. The women got a good amount of time to shine. I think they got 8 to 10 minutes or something like that. Like,
seemed like more.
Was it more?
It seemed like more to me.
I'll have to look after, but
it was about 10 or so.
10, okay. So, but yeah, normally, like, let's talk about the New Day match coming up, but that match got 2 minutes. Like,
yeah,
it was good to see the women get the time that they deserved on the card, and I'm hoping and praying that it leads to something with the women's tag team titles, because goodness gracious, they need to be like somewhat relevant.
It's all strange bedfellows right now. Tim left us a comment. I think Rhea should be back in the women's title picture. She has the fan base now for a long run. Yes, she does. But
does she?
Rhea Ripley also, she's got a great fan base. You got people dressing up as her in the crowd, and what have you. But there's a thing called momentum. Rhea Ripley needs momentum. She lost momentum I think you can kind of get her back on track just by stockpiling a bunch of wins. It
Yeah.
take a little time, but you got to make her relevant. You can't have her with Nikki Ash, and I don't know if this pairing with Liv Morgan is going to do wonders for Rhea Ripley.
Money in the Bank.
So that's really what's kind of stifling. Rhea Ripley is more of a singles star than I believe tag titles. But I don't know. What do you think? But Rhea Ripley, in my opinion, has kind of lost momentum over the past several months.
It's hard. It's hard with all the girls that people are so behind right now, especially with Bianca winning the women's title on the Raw side. Liv and Rhea being, baby faces. But it's hard to have babyface versus babyface in a title rivalry. But then again, you have Charlotte on the other side on SmackDown. But
Becky, man? I mean, Becky too.
Yeah, I mean, who are the top baby faces on SmackDown right now to face Charlotte? It was Sasha and Naomi.
I think you're gonna have Bayley come back, and
I think we see Bayley back tomorrow.
She could come back, but I think she's SmackDown, so that'd be probably Friday.
I still think that you could pull her out tomorrow if you wanted to.
If you, actually, Bayley is considered a free agent.
Yeah, so who's a big, like, you always have those Raw returns. Who's a big return? There's
only so big they can do, and I believe.
Yeah, and I think Bayley would get a damn good pop.
I don't think she gets there tomorrow. It's just because I have other ideas. Well, I mean, I have other ideas, and WWE is gonna do about 3 or 4.
I'm expecting the moment, and again, this is me. Maybe thinking too well, but I'm expecting the momentum to continue into tomorrow of the good shows.
It's going to continue. I just don't think getting back to Bayley. I don't think she's tomorrow.
Okay,
I think we're getting Bray Wyatt.
Right.
He's in Dallas. He is in Dallas. For what reason?
Right.
I don't know, but I think we could get Bray Wyatt
WrestleCon.
back.
I thought he was at WrestleCon.
It's still a possibility. I'm not throwing it out there. He didn't leave on bad terms.
Okay.
They're gonna probably debut Gabe Stevenson tomorrow, so that's the second case. Braun Breaker is probably another one that's gonna come up tomorrow night, and also Tommaso Ciampa probably. So right there's kind of already too much stuff going on, and they need to save some stuff for SmackDown. That being said, I don't think we get Bayley tomorrow. I think that's gonna be Friday as well. Confirmation, the women's tag title match was about 10 minutes, 15 seconds. I was off by 15 seconds.
There we go. Okay,
I sort of figured it was about 10 minutes.
But still, I mean, 10 minutes
And Bray Wyatt was at WrestleCon, but
I knew it. Do
we really think that Bray Wyatt's only reason to go to Dallas is just WrestleCon?
Yes.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, Mark. What's wrong with you, Wayne? You're Mark.
I think Bray Wyatt is coming back to WWE because if he was going to AEW, guess what? He would have been there already.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
I don't know.
We'll see. I guess we'll see.
We're gonna skip a little bit. It's in a 2-minute match. Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeat the New Day. This was actually literally my bathroom break match. Yeah. The match was so quick. I was in the bathroom for the whole length of the match between the entrances as well. So New Day gets the loss. Not really too surprised there. I think New Day is just kind of on a free fall right now, in my opinion. No momentum. WWE is really behind Ridge Holland right now, despite the fact that he's hurt a couple of people already. But I digress. Undertaker had a huge standing ovation with the Hall of Fame tonight. They brought him out a second time. Well deserved. That was about
his speech was damn good too.
I'm gonna go back and watch that.
Oh, you need to, dude. If you think tonight's pop
I'm halfway
was great,
through.
If that pop that he got at the Hall of Fame ceremony, phenomenal. I mean, 5 minutes continuous, like at least 5 minutes. It was really a really cool moment.
And Tim, if you read that off of ringsidenews.com, then
don't believe it.
It's false because we
get it from Wayne. Wayne gets his sources from Sean Ross Sapp and Meltzer himself.
Pretty much. Anyhow, Sean Ross Sapp is one of the most reliable journalists. If he says something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And that's a good journalist for you. And Dave Meltzer, hey,
I'm a journalist.
I kind of take things for greater salt. but there are journalists out there that just write things.
Oh,
just
I
make up
know.
stuff out of
I know.
nowhere just to get a pop and a reaction and stir up some stuff. I like Sean because he's always straightforward. But moving on, this is you've been waiting to talk about this
I've been waiting
for well over a
for
month now.
months in advance, and the fact that it exceeded my expectations and led to probably one of the I just called you a mark, but let me tell you, man, I was a full mark tonight during the Pat McAfee and Austin Theory
Yes, Pat
match.
McAfee versus
Oh my
Austin
goodness.
Theory tonight, and we had a great time watching that match.
Yeah.
Do I think we needed that hoopla afterwards? I don't think so.
Yes, we did. Stop
We
it.
will go into that. But Pat McAfee against Austin Theory, we had a great match with them back and forth. Chris, what did you think of this match? There were some cool spots that I liked with him jumping onto the top turnbuckle.
The box jump, yes.
That was great. Chris, what did you think?
It was solid. I don't know if I would have high expectations going into it. I knew the capabilities of both men. It was very entertaining. I was surprised with a lot of what they did. I was also surprised with the outcome. I actually, I thought Austin Theory was going to go over, especially with Vince McMahon on the outside. Possibly I thought he was going to cost him the match, do a little schmozzing over there. But, it was, I was happy with everything, the whole, Vince McMahon thing. That was a little unnecessary. I didn't think Vince McMahon needed to get in there and have a little, 2-minute match with him at all. The Stone Cold thing, I guess, also was to keep fans on their toes, having Stone Cold, for the people that maybe went to night one, saw Stone Cold just because they wanted Stone Cold. And then people on night 2 don't get to see Stone Cold, so they're gonna put Stone Cold on both nights.
That was a good
decision if that's how they're thinking.
And
very, very good decision.
And you know what? I believed in my heart that Austin Theory was no way winning this match because guess what? Tomorrow on ESPN, you're gonna see highlights of this. Maybe TMZ, First Take. This is gonna be
the Indianapolis Colts and the NFL page tweeted about this.
There
I mean, like
go.
this, and I think this is kind of why I was so into it. Is that I think that this is kind of the first match where I'm able to look at it and be like, wrestling is back in the mainstream. And yes, I do kind of credit a little bit of that to Pat McAfee. I think that, I mean, let's talk about it. He had Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar on his show for interviews. McMahon, first time in 15 years, he did a live interview. Lesnar, we don't really see him with a live mic until this latest run. The respect, and I think we saw that with the whole Austin segment, because he had talked about how he's wanted to always drink beer in a ring with Steve Austin, and he got to do that. So I think the respect that Pat McAfee has earned from everybody in the wrestling business is incredible. But I mean, yeah, like this is kind of the first thing, like you said, that kind of is bringing pro wrestling back into the mainstream of like, okay, like we have your little celebrity matches every year, your Logan Pauls, your Bad Bunnies, but like Pat McAfee is a consistent figure every single day on one of the most popular podcasts, daily podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, gets tons of guests. And now he's the main commentator for WWE's maybe not biggest show, but show with the most, eyes on it because it's on Fox. And he's wrestling in your biggest event. He gets a win. And then he's going in a match with Vince McMahon. His first time in, 20 years? Or not 20 years, but 21 years since his first WrestleMania match. I mean, this is what a moment. I really enjoyed this. I felt like it was well deserved. I thought Austin Theory playing the heel character, getting the selfies with McMahon. I love that.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Vince McMahon, this kind of looks ridiculous. I would have preferred And I think they were just trying to get the buzz in the crowd from Dallas to, oh, Vince McMahon's going to get into the match and the crowd's about to go nuts. And I think that's what WWE was really trying to achieve, and they pretty much did. But what I would have preferred was just have Austin Theory and also Vince McMahon just beating on Pat McAfee post-match.
Yeah.
And then just have Stone
And
Cold
then
come
Stone
in for the
Cold.
save.
Yeah.
And I think it would have simplified it, and it also would have achieved the idea of Stone Cold stunning McMahon, drinking with Pat McAfee, and stunning Pat McAfee.
Correct.
I don't think you needed to do a whole nother match, because we knew Vince McMahon wasn't taking it. Vince McMahon will never be he can't take any bumps.
Yeah.
Let's just face it. There's not going to be a match. If anybody's thinking of a payoff between Pat McAfee and McMahon, probably not going to happen. Maybe you get a rematch with Austin Theory and McMahon in the corner, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I think that the thing is that it was just another look. Like, we finally are recognizing that we got competition. What's another thing that we can say that's a moment that you can take away from Austin, first match in 19 years, Rhodes making the jump, Undertaker going into the Hall of Fame, Vince McMahon having a wrestling match against Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. I mean, like, yeah, it might have been 2 minutes, and I think the only thing that I didn't like about this match was the way that it ended. I mean, he kicked him with a football. Like, he kicked him with a football and then pinned him, and that was it. Like, he jobbed out Pat McAfee. Was that?
Yeah, did not like that.
Was that a little ridiculous? Yeah,
Yes.
Sure. But Stone Cold, you knew that was a big moment. Stone Cold coming out, he was going to get the crowd popped. And then also, like, I love McAfee, like, still being a damn mark. He's drinking beer on the outside after getting stunned while Stone Cold's, playing with the crowd. Like, I really, really enjoy. I thought this might have been a 10-minute segment, and that's not even talking about what McAfee pulled out in the match, but 10 minutes tops. We got 30 minutes out of the segment, and I think that they were all, from a fan service perspective, really, really well done. So, yeah, man, this was for an Indiana boy, a very, very cool moment. Hearing them say coming from Indianapolis, Indiana, that's super cool too. But yeah, man, this was kind of the thing that told me, like, yep, this is just a really, really good WrestleMania. Like, we're watching a darn good pay-per-view.
All across the board is great. Tommy, I know you have to run.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hopping on tonight.
Hey,
Your
thanks,
third night
man.
in a row. I know you're going to be back tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Be back tomorrow.
Wait, we will see you then.
Sounds good, my man. Have a good one, boys.
Have a good night.
So moving on, thanks guys so much for watching. We're going to talk about the main event next, but those of you guys that are watching, make sure you share this, help us out. Drop some comments. We have a couple comments coming in. Let me see. When Theory was going on Turnbuckle, I thought he was going to stun Theory out. Then Austin comes out because Vince used his stunner. That's basically the way it went down, man. Yeah, I would have booked this slightly different, but it was still pretty entertaining at the time. And you kind of knew, like, I was just wondering, like, if Vince was going to stun Pat, or they were just going to be like, buddy. But DTA, don't trust anybody. And unbelievable. So I'm not shocked, but I thought it was funny.
Did you see Vince spoiled the like Stone Cold Steve Austin thing? Like, when he was raising their hands and Austin Theory's music hits, how his reaction was like, he thought somebody was coming out.
Oh yes, I noticed that.
And then just reacted like somebody was about to come out, and then a couple seconds after, Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hits, and then he reacts again, and I was like, I caught that.
I caught that really quick. I was like, whatever. I didn't really, but yeah, you're right. I did. That was probably a miscue on his end.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, but those of you guys that are watching, feel free to share this with your friends, and just let you people know that we're out here, and we're gonna be back tomorrow night too with the Raw post show. I cannot wait. Oh. But we got some business to talk about, because we got the main event that we're going to talk about right now, and what we think is going to happen leading into next year. What's up?
We're missing a match. We're missing Edge and AJ.
Oh, yep, you're right. Tommy wanted to skip through it, so I skipped a couple of parts.
Want to run over it quick?
Yeah. Edge versus AJ. Arguably probably one of the best matches of the night, and probably the best match of the weekend. You could definitely make that argument. Both guys worked nonstop. Edge took some pretty big bumps.
Dude, the apron bump with the suplex.
Oh my
On
goodness.
that one, man.
Oh my goodness.
Apron bumps suck. I've
Edge
taken
never
them.
even took those bumps in the early '90s when he was wrestling.
Yeah, but they called some good spots. The match flowed really nice. I was watching mid through the match. I'm like, dude, the storytelling of this match, how Edge is targeting the midsection of AJ, AJ's targeting the left leg. You know, Edge setting up the midsection to weaken the midsection for a spear. AJ setting up the left leg for the calf crusher. Just perfect storytelling. Everything was on the mark, and I think the right man won. And like Tommy wants, it's what do you say? The blued,
The blue line.
the blued line with they're having Damian Priest now with Edge.
That I was like, damn it, Tommy, he was right.
Tommy was right.
With Priest.
Tommy
I'm not buying into this whole stable thing. For now, we're gonna call it strange bedfellows for now, until they make it work. Because let's just face it, Randy Orton and Riddle were strange bedfellows for a while, but
And
then
Kevin
they got it working, and now they got the chemistry. Now it's like a staple. It's like you don't want to see them apart anytime soon. So as long as they're doing their thing, and the storyline has legs underneath it, and they're selling a lot of merch, they're not going to split up Randy Orton and Riddle just yet. They may just delay that till next year's WrestleMania to have something for next year's WrestleMania kind of set up. But anyhow, yeah, we see Damian Priest come out, and which stalled AJ at the top rope as AJ was about to do his move. I think he was going to do the flying elbow, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, and you see Priest there just looking at him, and that buys Edge time to get ready. You see AJ get onto the top rope and jump off to do his flying forearm, and Edge turns that into a spear, which was an awesome spot. And Edge gets the win from there, and then you see that stare down between Damian Priest and Edge, and then Priest gets in the ring, and then they're both looking at each other, they're laughing, and then they're holding up each other's arms. So where they go from here, do they become a tag team? Is this the beginning of Tommy's wish of having a new stable with Edge? Yeah. I think that would be cool. Have Edge the leader and help elevate Damian Priest and maybe one other guy. And then whenever you're ready to split that up down the road, then you've kind of made, new superstars and elevated some people there. So I think that this is really good for Damian Priest. Yeah. But yeah, Edge and AJ Styles was arguably one of the best matches of the night and the best match of the weekend. And I'll probably ask you your opinion on that a little bit later. But so we have the WWE unification match to talk about. I've been itching to talk about this, as you can tell. So this was pretty interesting. Not the best wrestling match. I mean, it was great for the story. It was great interest to see who was going to come out on top. The person that I picked, that I predicted, and I think you predicted too, right? We all predicted Roman Reigns was going to come out on top. I've also heard that, there's probably a 2-year title reign looming from Roman Reigns. Yeah. He may not even lose his belt to next year's SummerSlam. And when I'm talking next year, I'm talking 2023. He might carry this thing for a while. And why not? It's already been almost 2 years already. Yeah, so we see Lesnar. We'll break down the match a little bit. This is like the one match that I kind of took the most notes as I can. We see Lesnar starts off with the early advantage, taking Roman Reigns to Suplex City. Paul Heyman lowers Lesnar, and then we get the barricade spot. You always got to expect the barricade spot in a Lesnar match or a Goldberg match for sure. So there was no surprise there, but still fun to watch. And then we see Lesnar with a spear, and then a Superman punch after the second Superman punch that Lesnar receives. He gets up laughing. then he catches Roman Reigns with another Superman punch attempt. Roman Reigns on his third attempt, I believe, reverses it and puts him in like 5 suplexes. So
Yeah.
that's how this match was going. Like basically, the whole rundown of this match was Superman punch, spear, kick.
It's
Lesnar, like did he even get an F5? I don't think he maybe gotten like 2
2 or 3. Yeah.
suplexes and what have you. So it wasn't really. That's basically what the match was basically revolved around. It wasn't like the greatest wrestling match ever by any means. Marquee, yes, the interest was there, absolutely. We see Lesnar drive. Lesnar gets driven into the corner, knocking out the ref because the ref gets stuck in the corner, and that's where everything kind of sort of unravels from there. We see Roman Reigns with a low blow, hits Lesnar with the blue Universal Championship belt. And Chris, take it from there. I mean, pretty much all hell kind of breaks loose. Roman Reigns. We see Lesnar with a little comeback. Lesnar has Reigns in a submission hold. The Kimura. Roman Reigns saves himself by getting the arm on the rope. So there's a potential almost submission there, but not Paul Heyman. We see Paul Heyman's arm. They show the highlight of you see his sleeve in his hand holding the rope with Lesnar. With saving Reigns there. So he had to the count had to break. The rope had to be broken. The hold. And then just out of nowhere, Reigns spears Brock Lesnar after they both get up, and that's the match. It just kind of ended like sudden.
Yeah. It was to me, it was all of their matches are the same. Have you noticed that? Like they just do the same thing over and over and over again. Like there's no pizzazz. There's no, this is our final match. This is the end of a rivalry. This is unification. Best match of WrestleMania history. We're going to change something up. No, we're going to do the same thing we did at, WrestleMania 31, at, the Saudi Arabia show, at SummerSlam 2018.
WrestleMania 34.
Mania 34. It's all been the same match. It's this and that hit, this and that hit. Nothing changed.
I get that there was nothing changed, but the intrigue was still there, though.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt about it that this was, a big monumental moment in wrestling history. These two people who have always been at the top of the company for these past couple of years, like, finally ending their rivalry, title unification, which hasn't been done in how many years, I think, it had the moment there. The match wasn't obviously the best match of WrestleMania history. And, we were able to, finally get Roman Reigns to cement his legacy even more as, tribal chief, head of the table, whatever you want to call him, and, keep his title reign going. Like Wayne said, he thinks he's going to go for another year. I assume since we didn't do it tonight with, everybody wanted The Rock to come out in the end, just to tease. Maybe Rock comes out tomorrow. Maybe he comes out Friday. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe he comes back and, wins the Royal Rumble to challenge Roman. There's a lot they can do, because, there's no doubt about it how they haven't heard or even thought of doing The Rock versus Roman Reigns in Hollywood at WrestleMania 39. That's obviously crossed their minds before. So regardless of what they decide to do, I think there's a lot of direction you can go with Roman Reigns as of right now. And I'm excited to see what they do. Really, I am.
We had a pretty good comment here. Do you think it was sudden because referring to the match ended suddenly? Do you think it was sudden because Roman said his shoulder was dislocated? He popped it back in after the match. Yeah, very well could have been. They probably called an audible and they must discuss it amongst themselves, the referee, saying that we should probably end this match now because it ended suddenly. So that had to have been probably the main reason.
I thought it was
for sure.
I thought it was a work. I thought he was just selling his shoulder from the corner lock. I think he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was selling it too because I didn't really see anything that was like out
No,
of place.
I didn't see any problems at all.
I didn't really see anything. So
I-
I mean, it was definitely a good sell there. But Tim, that could have been a good, viable reason to get the fans to explain why the match ended suddenly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, the match ended suddenly there. So now, Chris, we got to talk about this. WrestleMania is over. I cannot believe it. WrestleMania 38 is over. I will be in LA. Hopefully, one of my friends from Long Island will be with me, Tommy, and hopefully, maybe you get to join and Joe and have the team together or whatever in LA, hanging out with Chris Van Vliet. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
But that is probably happening. Him and I, we keep contact and stuff. So, but that's another year from now, and that's April 1st next year. But anyhow, where do we go from here? There's been rumors of the title being unified for a short time and then bring back the two belts. But I've heard that, but then again, it wouldn't make sense to do that.
Yeah.
After building a whole program to unify the title.
Yeah.
And then split them up again. And this is what I've heard, but it doesn't make sense. So I think they're going to continue with the one title to build into the whole head of the table thing. It would just make the most sense, and to get away with the brand split, to not like officially announce it, but to kind of just like phase it out. But Chris, what do you think we go from here as far as that goes?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think if they're making this decision on unifying the titles, I think they keep it that way, at least for a couple years.
They need to follow suit with the tag titles. They need to merge those.
They have to merge
and maybe get rid of the women's titles if they're not going to build that tag division well.
Merge the women's titles, merge tag titles. Maybe they have to, get new belts. They can't have, have either a Raw or SmackDown, a red or a blue, because it's going to show up on both brands. They have to have a brand new women's title, have to have brand new tag team titles. They have to, maybe they get a new world title. I don't think that's a good choice. People want them to bring back the big gold belt. I just think the WWE Championship is way too iconic to get rid of. I think if anything, they drop the Universal title because of how much people disliked it when it first got introduced. But I think they just keep the WWE title, have it be, the WWE Championship, and, just keep it how it's always been, or maybe they get a new title and they debut tomorrow. But
hey, listen, if you want to keep the brand split, it doesn't make sense to do it. But if you want to keep the brand split, fine. But have the champions float around. You don't need a Raw title and a SmackDown title. You don't need a Raw tag titles, SmackDown tag titles. That has to stop because they don't have the roster for it. It's not believable. And plus, we have competition with AEW, Ring of Honor, up and coming, and other promotions. There's other options. New Japan. There's somewhat viable competition now. You don't need to have Raw and SmackDown competing with itself. It's just, how do I put it? Insulting to my intelligence. Let's just flat out say it. And WWE doesn't have the roster to do that anymore. They got rid of a lot of people, but you can really make better use of your roster, your tag division, the women's tag division, the women's title division, just more solidified, so to speak, when everything's all merged together. The Blanche just gotta go. It's just not working. I mean, if you want to call SmackDown WCW or something like that, I mean, that would have been cool, but that should have had been done like 20 years ago to keep the WCW name going and keep Nitro. But that should have been done years ago in the original brand split. And it just would have kind of made it feel even more like competition, so to speak. But That's not the case. Okay, so now we talked about The Rock. We were kind of expecting that surprise tonight. We didn't get it. There's always the possible for tomorrow night, but that's if they want to do the whole 1 year build so they can put butts in the seat in Los Angeles because these tickets go on sale in November, like October at the earliest, November, first week of November for sure for WrestleMania 39. Those tickets those tickets go on sale in 6 months from now, folks. Six
Yeah.
months. That's it. In 6 months, WrestleMania 39 tickets go on sale. Start saving if you want to go. If you want to come hang out with us, start saving. I know I'm saving. But so yeah, WrestleMania 39 will be here, and it makes the most sense that well, now we got Triple H retiring. He could go in the Hall of Fame. But it's either in LA or Miami where you're gonna have The Rock go into Hall of Fame as well. It could very well be next year. Rock being a part of the Hall of Fame class. Could also be Triple H. Just because of Los Angeles, and that's where The Rock is mainly out of right now, even though his hometown is Miami.
Yeah.
So being that WrestleMania is in Los Angeles, we've been talking about it for a long time. We're talking for years, for 2 years in this podcast, that the next time Rock will wrestle will be WrestleMania 39. We believe that it's going to be 39 that The Rock will wrestle, and probably Roman Reigns. But how do we get there is the point. And like you said, Chris, as we speak, it's probably not even a lock that Roman Reigns will be at WrestleMania 39. But I guarantee you, it's been talked about. Every wrestling fan knows that it has had to have been talked about. Behind WWE closed doors as possibilities of what matches that big matches that we got that we can pull out of our cards that we have. You could probably do it like Cena versus Roman Reigns again, maybe. I don't know. And see, I would expect Cena to be at next year's WrestleMania too. Again, being that it's in LA, it's convenient. That's probably where Cena's spending most of his time. But I say that Rock would also be in LA too, because it's the convenience of the travel and everything. He's already there. He just has to block out some time off. I'm sure there's a lot of contracts that have to be signed off on. Also, he also has to watch out with his injury. While he's making films and stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's not as easy as The Rock. Like where he could just block out dates and tell Hollywood, okay, I can't work March 25th through April 4th, to prepare for WrestleMania and then be in the event. That's not the case. It's you don't just block out vacation. Like it's you're working 24/7 over there, and you have to make sure you don't get hurt and this and that. And you can't, when you're on the contract, you can't jeopardize that stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I'm sure that's being worked out as we speak, and I'm sure WWE is already talking about next year's WrestleMania and have been for a while. But Chris, I mean, at this point, do you think he can come out tomorrow? Well, I don't think I don't see him coming out on SmackDown. I don't see that.
That I don't think he's coming out on tomorrow.
I don't think it would be SmackDown. I think it could be tomorrow night on Raw at the earliest. But like you said, you made mention that they could also bring him back as a surprise entrant to the Royal Rumble. That would make sense too. But if you want to sell tickets in advance and get a jump on good ticket sales, I mean, I would try to book a 1 year build here. But Rock probably doesn't have the time to do what he did with John Cena in that 1 year build during between WrestleMania 27 and 28. So it could be something where we may not even see The Rock until Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? The WWE,
I believe it's happening. I really believe it's happening. It makes sense.
WWE likes to go at things very, very difficultly. It's not like we know what we want, we're going to go after it. We're going to go through every single obstacle and confuse the hell out of all of our fans and try to make them, figure it out. And, they like to jump through hoops. And it's strange to me, why, if you want something, you can make money off of something, announce it, make it happen, make people want something and look forward to next year's WrestleMania. I think they should do the 1 year build, but then again, Rock doesn't have time to possibly show up, maybe after every pay-per-view and, tease, hey, I'm still here, keep me in the back of your head. I got you in the front of my head. You're always on my mind. I'm trying to win that WWE title from you. It's something like that. But
Yeah, you could also have Rock come out like the end of Survivor Series, what Survivor Series comes out, goes off the air at the end of one of Roman's matches and do something like that. But otherwise,
pay per
the
view,
next big thing would be Royal Rumble.
I will expect to see The Rock show up within this year.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I got to pay attention to most is where the pay-per-views are running. Like what city is Survivor Series running? I honestly haven't even checked into that. But what city is Survivor Series running in? We already know Money in the Bank is gonna be in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'll be at Double or Nothing in Las Vegas at the end of next month. Cannot wait. We have this awesome hotel there, by the way, poolside and everything. Can't wait. The Grand Canyon is not too far from there, and the Hoover Dam. Can't wait for Las Vegas. It's gonna be fun, and we might even sneak a trip into Arizona, catch a Diamondbacks game. That'll be my 21st stadium. But I'm thinking that I also got to think about location. Like, is there another event running in Los Angeles this year, like a Raw or another pay per view, like a Staples Center getting an event? Or I know SummerSlam is going to be in Tennessee, in Nashville, I believe. So those are things to take into consideration too. Survivor Series is in Boston, so I would just on location, I would probably expect like a John Cena to show up. They might start a John Cena program there. You got to believe that since it's in Boston, they'll feature Sasha Banks heavily. Maybe she'll be featured in a title match by then. And Dave, I'm glad you brought that up. I think I'm feeling a trip to Boston, believe it or not. That'd be a great weekend to go for sure. Survivor Series. I love the city of Boston, my Boston Red Sox. I love them. Can't wait to get up there soon. But so I also like to look at locations too as possibility. Okay, where can The Rock show up?
Yeah.
Rock also loves showing up in Brooklyn. So there's different locations and stuff. But I also like paying attention to pay-per-view locations too can be slight indicators of when The Rock could possibly show up. But Chris, is there anything else you want to add to that? Because I think really the big question now is where do we go with the Roman Reigns and what that main event's going to look like, what the title situation will look like. Outside of that, I feel like whatever we get, we get. I mean, hopefully Cody Rhodes, gets a push. He's already got his first match in. You got to win. Hopefully, to keep that momentum going. Before we go, what do you feel was like your favorite moments of WrestleMania this year?
Favorite moment? Honestly, I think the biggest thing that made WrestleMania better is definitely Cody. Cody coming back, that's like, it's a big deal, him coming back, making the jump. It's something that is always going to be talked about and cemented in wrestling history, and it's if he's booked right, which I know he probably will be. I looked into some interviews, some stuff he's talked about, how he voiced how he wants his future run to go. And I know he's having a promo tomorrow night on Raw. He's gonna voice out to everybody what he wants, and whether he challenges Roman, whether he, wants to fight Rollins again, whether he, wants to go after the United States title, Intercontinental title, Money in the Bank contract, whatever it may be, he has direction, and this direction booked correctly will, be something big in WWE that they can rely on, and I'm happy for that. What about you?
Yeah, Cody Rhodes is great. He's on the right track. They just got to keep not booking like a goober. Let's just put it,
Yeah.
flat out put it out there. No booking like a goober. Just give him some wins. Have him maybe face Edge. Actually, no. I would keep him away from Edge right now. I would do that later on because that might not be a win for Cody. Edge is going to be on the momentum for a little while. Like he might be top heel going into next year's WrestleMania, other than Reigns. So we'd have to leave that alone, but that would be a good match to see. But yeah, you gotta pair Cody Rhodes with the right people for sure and keep that momentum going and see where we go. I mean, WWE's off to a good start with him. They brought him back. They brought him back with his AEW gimmick, his AEW song, which I thought was amazing. Because WWE always likes their own original content.
They bit the bullet, man.
So I'm glad they did that. Cody going to the forbidden door, so to speak. But yeah. So we got Cody. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the unifications over the next year. And WrestleMania 39 with the main event's gonna be my favorite moments. Definitely Cody, Monster Pop. And then Stone Cold coming out with that big ovation and just seeing some good wrestling. Like let's not forget about last night, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. They tore the house down, unlike this other woman. Bianca and Becky tore the house down, and that was other than Cody going against Seth Rollins. Becky Lynch and Belair was arguably the best match of the night, in my opinion, for sure. And then Edge and AJ flew. I told you guys the other day that this is going to fly under the radar. It even flew on the radar. I didn't even put it in my notes. But but it was a great match. It was one of the best matches of the weekend. Just everybody just like I saw a lot of effort. Like I saw WWE put a lot of effort. For those fans that complain about WWE not putting out wrestling, well, they put out wrestling this weekend for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. There was less hoopla and it was more payoffs and good wrestling, and it was just great. Can't wait to see Monday Night Raw, the fallout and what have you. We have a question from Jason. Can you see a scenario where Cody becomes a transitional champion in between for a month or two, then get The Rock versus Roman next year? That's a tough call. Maybe a quick transition, but I don't see Roman Reigns. Listen, if they push Cody the right way, maybe they could push him as the guy to eventually beat Roman. I just don't think that'll happen before Mania of next year.
No, it makes sense. Like, if they're putting the title on Cody, Cody's going to have it for a while. He deserves to have it for a while. He was never able to, really capture that world title. That's the one thing he wants to do. His dad was never world champion. He wants to capture that for him and for himself. It's something that I definitely can see happening in the next 2 years. Easily.
For sure. They just got to keep him in meaningful programs, have him against the right opponents. I would keep Cody away from other hot superstars right now. Like like I said a couple minutes ago, I'd love to see Cody versus Edge, but now is definitely not the time to do that because then somebody is going to be taking an unnecessary loss. So you got to keep them two away from each other for now. You could run back Cody and Seth again. Maybe do like a 2 out of 3 program between now and like Money in the Bank, and then have something else for Cody after that. So you just got to give them meaningful programs, and also WWE should try to refrain from overexposing Cody. You don't need to have him on your TV every single week. Just make it special. Make it feel special, like every other week or so.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I got nothing else. Do you have anything?
No, I think we can wrap this one up.
We covered a lot. And this has just been a great weekend. I am ready for I'm already thinking about WrestleMania 39, but before then, I gotta, handle the AEW Double or Nothing business, which I cannot wait for. But for those of you guys that are watching, please help us out. Just make sure you're subscribed. so that you'll have access to all our podcasts and videos whenever you want to watch. And also, make sure you share this with your friends and your family or your pets, whoever loves wrestling. Just help get the word out there. And we don't do this. We don't get to do this if it's not for you guys. So we appreciate you guys watching. And Chris, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. We will be back tomorrow night for a fourth night in a row. I guarantee you, other than Fightful Select, I don't mind putting over other podcasts. Other than Fightful Select, the Sean Ross app, we are the busiest pro wrestling podcast out there right now.
Damn right.
Nobody's done. Nobody's doing 4 nights in a row like we are, other than Fightful. They're practically 7 nights a week. But anyhow, we've been the busiest pro wrestling podcast, period, during the WrestleMania weekends for a second straight year, and that doesn't stop. Tomorrow we continue with the Raw post show. There's gonna be some interesting takeaways that might even change some of our conversations from tonight of where they're going to be going long-term booking wise. So, and we're going to have surprises. Like I said earlier, I'll backtrack for a moment. We might get the debut of Gable Steveson. WWE's been really making sure. Oh, how about Veer Mahan, or whatever his name is?
Everybody else did.
I think Veer shows up. I think Veer's probably going to show up tomorrow. We'll probably get Bailey this week, sometime tomorrow or Friday. You never know. We may get Bray Wyatt. He is in Dallas. Don't rule it out. I'm not like put all my money, my chips in that basket.
That's coming from.
But it's a possibility. We'll just leave it at that.
What does he do?
He'll come out and whatever they have planned for him, we don't know. It'll be involving starting a new storyline.
I don't know, man.
Maybe he joins Edge, but maybe not necessarily as a Fiend character.
No, I don't see him as somebody to follow someone else. He's a.
But you had to throw that question at me. What does he do? My answer to you is I don't know, but they could bring him back, and it's kind of like one of those things. Well, we'll just enjoy the ride and find out.
Yeah.
So we mentioned a couple of those names earlier. So it's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be interesting. We can't wait to get back to you, and then also we're gonna have our 2-year anniversary show soon, later this month, and not too far after that. It's our 100th episode. You could say, let's throw that in there. I see Ciampa joining Edge, perfect heel for it.
Tommy said,
"Yeah, sure, why not?"
The Blue.
For those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much. You guys all have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow immediately after Raw by 11:05, 11:10 for our fourth and final night consecutively. And till then, we'll talk to you all soon. You guys all have a great night.
Peace, guys. Have a good night.
Peace.